made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channel and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 297 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Mark Romano, and if you want to understand vertebral subluxation, stay tuned. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. We have Mark Romano coming in. He's our North Mississippi All-Star tonight. And got my co-host Luke Millette coming in from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And you got me out here in Grand Junction, Colorado. And I was talking to Mark off camera, and he was episode 47 of this podcast, which was back in 2018. Can you believe that, guys? And this is episode 297. And I know that a lot has changed. A lot is still changing, but one thing is not changing, and that's your philosophy of the non-therapeutic style of chiropractic that you promote and that you teach people. So without any further, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Thank you for having me back, guys. I love it. I love what you guys are doing. I'm super excited to be here. So thank you for letting me on.
Yeah. And the word subluxation, I think that should be something that we just discuss like early and often within our interview. So let's just step right in and talk about what you were saying off camera about why it's healthy to get people corrected and why it's better off to never have a subluxation.
Yeah, I love it. You know, one of my mentors was Reggie Gold. Hans, what's going on? Good to see you too, brother. Reggie Gold was one of my mentors, and Reggie was a revolutionist. He went to school. BJ was still alive, and he would come up and teach, and everything was upper cervical. And chiropractic gets sick people well, keeps well from getting sick. So Reggie goes out into practice, and Reggie was from Great Britain. He was a very dynamic person, and he had that magnetic personality, attracted a lot of people. So Reggie built this huge practice. And what he realized was, you know, I'm talking about vertebral subluxations. There are still people who are either getting sick or they're not getting well. And Reggie came up with the philosophy, look, we can't predict what's going to happen when a vertebral subluxation is corrected. But what we can say under all circumstance is people are always better off without a vertebral subluxation. And where we expanded it to say the true benefit of chiropractic is when you've been consistently having your spine checked for vertebral subluxations, of course, adjusted when necessary over the course of years. So, and I think Reggie noticed this, I certainly did, that the only people that were really receiving the true benefit of chiropractic were chiropractors' own families. So I think where Reggie was going and where we wanted to be more clear is let's have our practice and serve our people in the same way that we serve our family. If we define a vertebral, and Reggie was real big, vertebral subluxation, because, you know, we want to be very specific, and being a non-therapeutic straight chiropractor, that is the exclusive entity that we deal with. And, you know, the philosophical definition of a vertebral subluxation, of course, from R.W. Stevenson's, a condition of a vertebra, which has lost its proper juxtaposition with the one above, the one below, or both, to an extent less than a luxation, which occludes a foramen, interferes or impinges nerves and interferes with the transmission of mental impulse. And that was the big thing. That was the big thing because, you know, you have misalignment, occlusion of a foramen, some form of nerve interference, and the truly metaphysical component is the interference with the expression of mental impulse, which is a very specific function, physiological function in matter created by innate intelligence for a very specific event in time. And vertebral subluxations interfere with that expression, so the body can never reach its fullest potential, and ultimately is at a detriment because of that. So when vertebral subluxations are corrected over the course of time, the body will be stronger. The quality of life will improve. What no chiropractic can do is predict how or which physiological function. So let's focus on the big idea or the big message of chiropractic that, hey, we all have vertebral subluxations. All humans are vulnerable to them. They have no clinical presentation. They have no symptomatology. Therefore, the only way we know if a vertebral subluxation exists is to see a chiropractor. And vertebral subluxations are a limitation of matter. Therefore, because we have a limitation of matter, when external invasionary forces overcome internal resistive forces in the matter, a vertebral subluxation can occur. And part of the definition is the body has lost at least some ability to make the correction. Therefore, the chiropractor comes, creates a universal force in which the innate intelligence can now convert to an innate force. So therefore, the adjustment can be made. And this can only happen over time. So what we need to do if chiropractic is going to survive and ultimately reach the world is totally remove it from a crisis profession altogether, utilize it as a non-crisis habit, a distinct entity unto itself, and focus on one very clear message. That means forget the weight loss, forget the therapies, forget the treatment, and focus on, hey, these vertebral subluxations are really bad, and we happen to be experts at their correction, and their correction is a really good thing, ensuring you a better quality life, living closer to your fullest potential over time.
I'm supposed to ask a question, but I'm speechless. That's probably one of the most in-depth answers about chiropractic I've ever heard.
Oh, great.
That was great.
Thank you.
So tell us, I mean, you haven't been on the show for like a year, 2 years. It's been a while. What's changed for you? What have you been up to? What have you been developing since you were on the show last?
That's a great question. That's a great question, Luke. I'll tell you what I've come to find, because I've been in this model for 20 something years, and most chiropractors resonate with this model. They see the logic to this model. And I think what keeps chiropractors from totally committing to this model is they're afraid they can't sell it. They're afraid they can't make a living at it. They're afraid they can't provide for their families. They're afraid they're really going to struggle. And let's face it, we didn't get into the field that we're in, and you guys aren't doing what you're doing in bringing this message to the world just to get by. No, it is our duty, obligation, and responsibility to be massively wealthy. And if you don't believe me, ask Jim Chester. That, because, like me, he loves Grant Cardone as well, So with that being said, one of the things that I realized was, I had a hard time selling it. I could sell it based on my passion and my fire, but there was a lot of people I couldn't close because I just simply didn't know how to do it. So, we have this office that, we have 3 offices. I have a chiropractor with me. We're looking for a few more. And part of when chiropractors come to work with me, and also chiropractors around the world, we teach how to sell, how to close through honesty and integrity. We look at success. There are about 6 points to success. 6 points to success would be knowing your purpose, developing a skill set, sowing seeds that benefits others, being congruent with your values, making tons of money, experiencing joy and happiness on a daily basis, and being in total control of your time. And these are the qualities that we teach. If you compromise your principles and values in any way, you're not going to be happy. It's not possible. So part of success is being congruent. So what we teach is the ability to be congruent and totally honest with every single person that we encounter, and helping them make one of the most important decisions of their life. Doing it with honesty and integrity, because this is all about service after the sale. If it's not a good fit, and sometimes it's not going to be good to start. So this is where the non-crisis comes in, because people can't hear you if they're in any form of crisis. And then when we understand these tools, we can do things honestly, ethically, and get the right fit for our office. So many times chiropractors believe that we're supposed to serve everybody, serve everyone, love everyone, give to everyone. And I'm here to tell you, no, that's a massive mistake. If you're taking care of everybody who walks through your doors or calls you on the phone, you're going to have a miserable practice. I only take care of people who buy in 100% to the purpose of what we're trying to do. The exclusive focus of correcting vertebral subluxations on on a weekly basis for life. I'll explain the logic. I'll make an airtight case. And then we'll go over all the emotional reasons as well. And it's fun and it's honest. Now, if it's not a good fit, no problem. We'll give you some information, even help you find another chiropractor. There's 17 chiropractors in my community, all of them practicing different, most of them in the therapeutic model. That's fine if that's what you want to do. It's not what we're going to do, and that's not going to reach the world. Why am I certain that therapeutic chiropractic, as it's taught today, is not going to reach the world? Because it's been 126 years. Don't you think it would have reached it by now? We're seeing less numbers, not more. There are people in Mongolia who haven't even heard the word chiropractic. So we got to start thinking bigger. And I want, just like we talked about on our last interview, Jim, a chiropractor on every corner. Chiropractors need to open up their vision. You could have the highest volume chiropractor in the world, whatever they're into, DE, non-therapeutic, whatever it is. And so many chiropractors are like, yeah, chiropractic for the world, until a chiropractor opens up down the street. Now they're mad. Oh, they lack vision. Any chiropractor who is having associates sign radius clauses lacks vision. You see, not everyone's going to be a good fit. And the biggest liability to chiropractic is two things: taking on people that don't buy into your purpose. And a lot of that's because the chiropractor couldn't sell it. And second, sexual misconduct by the chiropractor. These are the two biggest problems in chiropractic in regards to liability. And they're the easiest to resolve. The sexual immorality, well, that's a moral issue that we can work on and resolve, of course, you see. And the other, that's where we teach. We have an institute online that, like Grant Cardone, we're on Lightspeed, where we have hundreds and hundreds of videos broken down to 3 to 8 minute segments. And we go over everything from risk management, selling, closing, language patterns, training your CA, interviews with chiropractors from around the world, and everything from A to Z, and opening your office, keeping your overhead low, understanding what your specific office capacity is. When chiropractors say, yeah, I want to see 100 people a day, but their technique takes them 10 minutes, well, more than likely your capacity is going to be 40 people a day, unless you close the time that it takes to safely and specifically analyze a spine. So part of our vision is simple. One, be the example. Build a huge practice in our offices with everybody working with us in the same way that we teach chiropractors around the world. Be the example to be successful at it first, and then teach it to the world. 7.8 billion people seeing their chiropractor weekly is our mission. And I truly believe it's a mission every chiropractor can get behind.
Well, I think I came up with a solution to multiple problems. If there's a chiropractor who lacks vision, he should open up a clinic in Mongolia.
There you go. Bingo. And let me put those numbers in perspective, because you could have just cracked the case wide open. Great job. Right now, there's approximately, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, there's approximately 65,000 chiropractors that are practicing in the world right now. So let me put this into perspective. 65,000 practicing chiropractors, and the schools have been worried about saturation of the market. I heard this years ago, back in the 90s, when I was president for the Mississippi Palmer Chiropractic, alumni, and I would go back to Palmer quite regular, and there was talk of, hey, we're saturating the market. Crazy. 65,000 chiropractors worldwide. If every one of those chiropractors moved to the United States, where there's just over 300 million people living, and every person in the United States was seeing a chiropractor, that means that every chiropractor would be seeing over 3,000 visits a week. And that's if people only came in one time. We are in a massive shortage for chiropractors around the world.
Well, you said it right there, is there's different levels of chiropractic delivery systems. There's different levels of understanding of what it is from a public perspective, from practitioner perspective, from a collegiate perspective, the scope of chiropractic is so wide. And, you know, I've even heard people talking about if patients want to come in and be treated like urgent care, then we're going to bill like urgent care. And I think that that's also something to be considered, is the patient is really the one that's looking for the quality of life improvement. And they come in typically because they've floundered around the medical arena and they've been like, well, I don't know what to do. They've told me to take this. They did this to me. They told me that I was going to have to do this scan and I have to do this blood test and this stress test. And we're saying, you know what? Let us get you in. Let us check you. Let us get you adjusted. And then let's try least invasive first. And I think that that's really a model of the non-therapeutic style of chiropractic. What it can really, it can harness this information and harness this energy that's everybody's like, yeah, I'm in pain, I need a chiropractor. Well, no, you need a chiropractor because you need to have better human performance from cradle to grave. And
Right.
if that's really the message that we can drive to everybody's home, everybody's school, everybody's clinics, is say, hey, look, this isn't a pain game anymore. This is a human performance game, and it's a quality of life game. And here's the real thing, Mark and Luke: when the body is adjusted, the nervous system works better. Oh boy. And then when the body's adjusted, as you said, the mental impulses increase and improve. Oh boy. And then what most people don't even understand is when you get adjusted, it makes the organ system function better because the nerves are firing the way that they're supposed to. Oh boy. And then the part where they don't even want us to talk about anymore, Mark, is that the body's immunity improves through chiropractic adjustments. Because they're like, show us the science. Well, the science is out there now to show that human performance is increased and blood health is increased with regular, frequent chiropractic adjustments.
And now we got to watch that thin line. We got to watch that thin line, Jim, because chiropractic, we would need to stand totally independent. Like, we need to be reaching people when there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
You know, if it's medically or therapeutically, because maybe the immune system will function better, but we still can't predict that, because there are times medicine is necessary. There are times that, other professions are necessary. I don't want to be the person to make that judgment call for anybody. What I want to be is the absolute expert under all circumstances on chiropractic and vertebral subluxations. So I won't even comment on drugs, vaccines, anything, because I would say is outside my scope of practice. I'll have personal beliefs about it. But if we look at it and say, because the research, and this is what frustrates me about research, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, there's so much research that is therapeutic in nature, chiropractic, and this improves, that goes away, that symptoms lets up, the immune system works better. But yet, show me one research project that validates the existence of a vertebral subluxation. The only one that I am aware of is BJ's wet specimen. You probably heard this story. Before World War II, BJ was in Germany, and he was working with scientists because BJ wanted to prove, this is back when he was hole in one, upper cervical. He wanted to prove that the medulla oblongata came down to the third cervical vertebrae, and that when a person dies, that because of the ventricles literally shrink, pulling the spinal cord up, so it made it look like the medulla oblongata came down to the foramen magnum of the occiput. Well, BJ said, we began to dissect a human upon the point of death. And BJ said, and this was in his green books, I don't even think this person was dead yet. They would do these experiments, sadly, on convicts and people of that nature. Well, when they dissected this person, BJ said you could see the medulla shrinking. And what BJ had done after, the person had passed, BJ was getting out of Germany because the war was beginning to begin. He had the occiput, from occiput to C2 cut, and you could see a twisting, what appeared to be a misalignment of the atlas. And what he did was he encased it in glass and put it in, I don't know if it's probably in formaldehyde, and it's still today where you can view it at Palmer College, called the wet specimen. Now, I'm not aware, and I brought this up to different researchers, and people get mad at me for bringing it up. I do not know of one research project that said, okay, right here, We have the research, double-blind, clinical peer review, whatever, of the existence of a vertebral subluxation, which also could lead to the best way to analyze for this and the best way to facilitate the correction. Are you aware of any research out there right now that exclusively focuses on the existence of vertebral subluxation?
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle. I'm not the most up to speed on the research.
Right, me neither.
But, I am my own research project.
Correct, me too.
I've been getting checked and adjusted since I was 16. And
Right.
I wouldn't have a lifestyle that did not include that type of care into my life.
You're just smart.
And I think that anybody that wants to really take to task if chiropractic works, there's 65,000 chiropractors around the world that are practicing chiropractic. So that says something to me. That's my own research, is that the profession has been surviving and thriving and excelling expectations for 126 years now. So when we really want to go down to the beginning of the first chiropractor DD to the person that just finishes college tomorrow, the chiropractic profession's strong. And,
no. I'm not saying it's not now, Jim. I'm not saying it's not. I don't need this research. It'd be nice to see, but is it like, the future of chiropractic depends on it? Absolutely not. Because the beauty of chiropractic is we utilize both inductive and deductive reasoning. Where research is inductive reasoning, which is fine. But we have this wonderful deductive philosophy that gives us a very powerful and certain why. So in no way am I saying that the fate of chiropractic depends on it. It's just when we bring up the research. All the research that I've seen since I've been in school in the 90s is therapeutic. It's not, we don't need it anymore, because we can use deductive reasoning to say, okay, it's obvious. Like you said, man, what's going on, Wade? Thanks for tuning in, brother. Like you said, chiropractic, because of primarily our deductive reasoning, where the 33 principles came from, starting with universal intelligence, the chiropractic meaning of life, going all the way down through the specifics that innate intelligence never injures or destroys the structure in which it works. Chiropractic has survived because of its sound philosophy, because it's, yes, 93, Wade, class of 93, October 15th. Somebody had to remind me. It was like 28 years ago. I graduated this last week. So that is why we survived. The research, to say, we don't. You know it, I know it, just like you're saying, because we know that there is a truth of chiropractic. Back at you, Wade. Thank you, brother. We know that there is a truth here. Do I need research to establish what I've been doing 7 days a week for 28 years, analyzing for vertebral subluxations and helping the body facilitate the correction? No. And just like you said, 65,000 people doing this. What we do need is more certainty in the logic and the deductive reasoning and the ability to sell and close it congruent with those principles, congruent with the 33 principles, congruent with the principles of chiropractic. Third party does not allow us to do that. Any third party, workman's comp, personal injury, major medical insurance, all those things are doing is controlling our messaging and compromising our message. And if you can't be congruent with your values, if you have to do anything because it's the system, you are keeping chiropractic from reaching the world. So rather than compromise because of a system, chiropractic doesn't fit into any other system. That's why we must have our own system. We are our own identity. We are unlike anything else. We are not an alternative to medical, because in order to be an alternative, you have to have the same destination. And if a chiropractor's destination is getting sick people well, that is a medical objective. if we can keep chiropractic in the correction of vertebral subluxations for a better expression of life, we will reach more people, help more people, and have a clearer message for the world. BJ was so close to this message when he was defending chiropractors. Before chiropractors were licensed, which was, by the way, a better time for chiropractic, there were chiropractors that were being sued by medical doctors. Medical doctors would pay police officers to arrest them in their office for practicing medicine without a license. Now, during this time, chiropractors would not pay the misdemeanor fee because that was a matter of principle. We are not practicing chiropractic. We are doing something completely different. And BJ would help defend these chiropractors in court. And part of their defense was we are a separate and distinct profession doing something totally different for the correction of vertebral subluxations. He was so close to the non-therapeutic message. And then he kept going back into getting sick people well. But keep in mind, he total pioneer in what he was doing. So, all of this that he brought to the world, of course, he's going to waver. Of course, there's going to be things that are unclear. All of us get to stand on the shoulders of giants. So it is our duty to further make the message more clear. We must clarify it. And by clarifying it, we are not an alternative. We don't have the same objective as anything. We are not holistic. We are chiropractic. The correction of vertebral subluxations for a better expression of innate intelligence. No other profession in the world is doing it. No other profession in the world is trained in it. No other profession in the world has the philosophy of it. And our philosophy is so beautiful. There is nothing like it. No other profession in the world comes close. Well, PTs are manipulating. Well, let them do whatever. Let them do mobility, whatever. And you know what? Some of it's really great stuff. I see my PT on a regular basis. There is nobody that understands the vertebral subluxation, that has the 33 principles, that has the definition of a vertebral subluxation in the detail that we have, and that has the skill set and the understanding of facilitating that adjustment. And if we focus on that, folks, it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. We're too busy seeing 7.8 billion people. And as Luke says, taking that bus to Mongolia and open up practices.
So who have been some of your inspirations or people that you've looked up to or wanted to model yourself to be like?
I love that, man. Joe D'Onofrio, Joe Strauss, Reggie Gold, BJ Palmer, Guy Reekman. I love how he speaks. Sid Williams, Blythe Peoples, my associate who works with me. Mark Osteen, Jimmy Haley, Tom Gregory, one of the greatest chiropractic historians and one of the only, if not the only, chiropractor and spinologist in the United States. Spinology was Reggie's way of saying, just in case we can't practice straight chiropractic anymore, I'm going to start my own profession. And it was spinology. And so there are still schools today. Reggie opened one in Philadelphia, then Spain, Ireland, Australia, and maybe New Zealand. Now there's one in Australia. I think there's one in Spain. I'm not sure if there's one in Ireland anymore. But Tom Gregory is the only chiropractor and spinologist that I'm aware of, and just incredible historian. And so many people. And then, when we go into the secular world, T.D. Jakes, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar. A lot of people don't know Zig Ziglar was from Mississippi. He was from Yazoo City, and he wanted to be a chiropractor. He used to come to the chiropractic schools all the time. I wasn't smart enough to go and listen to him, so now I have to study him posthumously. Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort. Anybody that's accomplished any level of greatness, Nelson Mandela, Winston Churchill, golly, and so many other names that are going to escape me, John Adams, George Washington, so much greatness, Napoleon Bonaparte, Alexander the Great, Marcus Aurelius. I'm trying to think of, I'm going to leave out so many people. I love Robert Greene. I love his books, and there's so much knowledge out there. I'm very fortunate that I was around people that said, you got to read. So like Reggie, I read a book a week, and I couldn't sell. So I couldn't sell it. So I studied Grant Cardone and Jordan Belfort and came up with a structure that combined that combine both of their strategies. Unfortunately, you won't see them combining it because they don't like each other very much. But my platform has both Jordan's straight line and Grant's principles because I've studied both of them in detail. I was online training with both of them. Jordan Belfort, I've walked him through the platform, and he said this is the best conversion of the straight line I've ever seen in the profession. We were going to try to collaborate. It just wasn't the right time. There is so much greatness out there. And when chiropractors understand how powerful they are in their service, they won't have time to do anything else. They won't be interested in weight loss. They won't be interested in therapy. They won't care about being an alternative to another profession. They won't give their opinion about any other profession because they'll be too busy sharing what they do as chiropractors and performing that service.
Well, if you had the opportunity to have dinner with any one person from history, who would you pick?
Who would I pick? Who would I pick? Any one person at all?
Any one person.
Who would I want to sit down and have dinner with? I mean, right now, a living person, I'd love to sit down with John Bon Jovi. A person who's passed, I'd love to sit down with Prince. I'd love to sit down with BJ Palmer. More so than DD Palmer. DD was a brilliant mind in his own right, but it was BJ who really brought this to the world. Mm-hmm. Living, I really want to meet John Bon Jovi. I love the music. We're both Italian. I love what he writes because I've lived it. And I also want to ask him, how do you reach that many people? How do you connect with your audience of 65,000 people and continuously be one of the only acts in the industry that can sell out? Every time I see John, and I'll see him every chance I get, he sells out the arena in Nashville, in Memphis. It doesn't matter. It's sold out. How do you connect? Because how do we can make that connection from what he's doing in music to our passion in chiropractic? How did BJ Palmer have all of these people who weren't even chiropractors support what they were doing, fill up Madison Square Garden? What was the magic there? We can reach more people right now than BJ ever could, but yet they had more masses of people helping them. And it was not uncommon to have practices seeing 300-400 people a day. Right down the street from where I'm at right now in Verona, Mississippi, Tom Morgan in the 70s was seeing 300 to 400 people a day before Mississippi had any licensure. That's the magic we need to have right now. We have the technology, and you guys know this. It's not so much we need this technology or that technology. No, we need to learn how to use the technology that we have. And my hope is that chiropractors can get united under a message that vertebral subluxations are always bad and their correction is always good. They say, but Mark, that ain't sexy. People want sexy. No, people want simple. People want comprehensible. People want understandable. People want the certainty to know they're not a fool and their money's being spent on something positive in their life. And Jim, that is why you have been under chiropractic since you're 16 years old, and you make it a point to have that habit in your life every single day. And the same thing with you, Luke, after you move to somewhere new. And honestly, the same thing with me as well. I see a chiropractor 5 to 7 days a week for the past 20-something years. I push my body to the limit. I love to train. I love to compete. I've competed in sports from running to Olympic weightlifting to Brazilian jiu-jitsu to mixed martial arts to powerlifting, bodybuilding. I've blown 3 discs in my spine. I've lost the function of different body parts. I've had torn muscles, but surgeries. I think I had 8 surgeries in the past 7 years. And without chiropractic, just like you said, Jim, I am absolutely certain there is no way I'd be living on this level. Now, that's through my experience, just like what you're saying. And experience is valid. And you and I are absolutely certain of that. And just like we said, this is why chiropractic continues to not only survive, but grows. It's just growing way too small. And I don't know if it's even really growing right now or if we're receding right now. I don't know. But this is why you gentlemen do what you do, because you're not a chiropractor, right? You guys aren't chiropractors. You love the impact of chiropractic. You love the purpose of chiropractic. So you take your gift of social media, of all of the podcast, and you have the most dynamic podcast in the profession because you are sold on the purpose of chiropractic, and you believe that there is a mission to reach the world, and you're allowing a vehicle that can make that happen because you are so sold on it, because you believe in it so much. That, and I thank God, is the impact that we need to have on the world. Your chiropractors, I commend them. They gave you a message. They gave you a service. They gave you a feeling. They gave you a certainty that empowered you to do this. And that says to me, there is hope in reaching the world. I don't care if we reach it in my lifetime. All I care is we have the impetus, the momentum, that after we're all gone, our legacy continues on in the future. Like what's his name there? The Infinite Game. Not Seth Godin. Come on, what's his name? He wrote Simon Sinek, The Infinite Game. We are so worried about winning right now that we will compromise our principles. We'll do whatever we got to get that person to start. And that's the wrong way to do it. That is destroying the future. We got to look at it through the infinite game that Simon Sinek talks about. I'm going to build the future one block at a time, and we are creating a legacy that's going to live after we're gone for generations to come. That's why Sam Walton was so successful. And that's why the CEO after Sam Walton was so unsuccessful. The minute we put, bottom line of profits to be the most important thing is finite thinking. It's like a baseball game or a football game. Oh, we got to win. Life isn't a football game. The chiropractic office isn't a football game. Your marriage is not a football game. You don't win at it. You constantly improve. You constantly get better. And if you're compromising in any way, you're not doing that. I understand that chiropractors are scared to death to leave third party. I did it 20-something years ago in 1998. I will literally hold your hand and walk you through it, taking off those chains and empowering you to be 100% congruent with the message, serving people like your own family, reducing your liability, practically to zero, and giving people the service they need when they need it without having to okay it with somebody who's only concerned about cost containment. And I can show you how to make a fabulous living doing it, because I believe that what you're doing, and I believe what every chiropractor is doing, should create massive levels of wealth. That if you're doing this great service and you're barely getting by or you're not making money, you're not successful. You've got to open up your heart and mind, and Sid did a great job at this, of open up your heart and mind to the money that you deserve. I was teaching the other day, and somebody was asking me, why is non-therapeutic chiropractic not taught at any school? Why is non-therapeutic chiropractic, people can only find it in two places: Joe Strauss's Blue Books and my institute online, NTSC Institute.com. And I says, do you want to know why no school teaches it? I'm going to be honest. Because no non-therapeutic chiropractor right now on this planet makes enough money to donate hundreds of thousands of dollars to a school. Because if you did, we'd be on the campus all the time. That's what it takes, guys. This is the world we live in, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's the reality of what we're doing. And right now, yes, I make a lot of money. Am I playing on that level that I can write a check right now for $100,000? Not yet. Not without selling some of my investment properties or something like that. So what do I got to do? Continuously up the game. I'm not making $1 million a year right now, and I'm ashamed to say that. But friends, the infinite game isn't over yet.
So where can people go if they want to learn more about your teachings?
You can go to my landing page at NTSCInstitute.com. You can send me a message from there. You can sign up right now, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best investment you made since chiropractic school. And what you're going to get is me, a private consultation every month, and you're also going to get hundreds and hundreds of videos showing you everything from A to Z. And these are not videos you can watch one time. These are videos you got to watch over and over and over again. Have you been on Cardone University, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I figured you have. So have I. It's like that, but the videos are, of course, they're more modern, so they're more crisp. And I got to stand on Grant's shoulders to say, okay, I can shorten these up. I can make this a little better quality. And you've got to watch them over and over again. You can't watch them one time because you're going to have language patterns, tonality, the right things to say, how to say them, when to say them, and you're going to make tons of mistakes. That's how you learn. It's your ability to make mistakes, fail over and over again, that's going to determine your level of success.
Well, Mark, I love the passion and the fire and the truth of everything you said. And selfishly, the one thing that I have to go against the grain on is I thought you were going to say you wanted to go to dinner with Luke and I.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you something. You got me. You got me.
I knew he was going to say that.
I want to go to dinner with the Chiro Hustle dudes.
Okay. You know what? We're going to dinner. We got to find out the seminar and we're going. Okay, guys, we're going to make it happen.
Man. Yeah. And we are at the edge of our time together today. We really appreciate you being our guest and sharing the information that you did and your passion for this beautiful profession of chiropractic and not leaving one stone unturned and being a part of our legacy of building this tapestry, keeping free speech alive and well in the chiropractic profession, protecting the sacred trust, and supporting subluxation-based chiropractors. That's the tenets of why we do what we do, and that's why Luke and I keep on showing up and hosting dynamic chiropractors like yourself to share their truth and to be able to connect with our audience and their audience. And your patients will watch this, your friends will watch this, and their friends will watch this, and the world at large will watch this. So we're so thankful that you gave us a chance to have you on our show tonight. And we just want you to have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we'll send people to your website.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up. Jim, I'm going to message you. So you, Luke, we can get together and have dinner real soon. All right.
That'll be a highlight for me.
It'll be a highlight for me as well. I guarantee it. I'm looking forward, guys. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good evening.
You too, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.